Welcome ladies and gentlemen, I'm the Educational Gamer and we are playing Strategic Command. Last time we did deal with all of the European / North Atlantic theatre, Africa and so on. This time we want to deal a little bit more with the Japanese menace that has gotten out of hand here. Attacked a lot of American shipping and so on and so forth, so that is something that we do need to deal with. Just one point of note, in between episodes I did go ahead and rearrange the Chinese forces here a little bit, so that generally the concept will be to keep the ports guarded and then some reserve units there, so that if there's a Japanese attack we will be able to counter that. Also invested into a little bit of research for China. Not really important because they are not able to reach out onto the sea due to the way that their build-up is working, but all in all I still think that is fine, and in terms of role-playing I do like that. So, to deal with Japan, so the first thing I do want to do is take this core over here of the Indians and transport it. You're going to spend a little bit of money to do that. We're going to bring it over here and unload it directly onto this island so that we have something to cover our advance, or to counter the advance of the enemy up this route, and that I think is important. You'll also notice that as India I've also spent quite a bit of R&D, some purchases on some paratroopers, some tactical bombers, so that we will be able to deal more with the Japanese down here, and of course the plan will be to bring some of these troops towards that theater as well. These heavy cruisers we already dealt with, we don't really want to move them up. I did reinforce these guys down here as well in Batavia in the Dutch East Indies. So the question really is, what else do we want to do down here? I think we only have this light cruiser. I would like to keep it around, but not necessarily run into any enemies. So let's keep it in this port so we'll have a vision of what's going on down here, and that will be helpful. I mean, there are these light cruisers, but it will be difficult to reach them out. The biggest question actually is, what are we going to do around Pearl Harbor over here? We do know that the Japanese have 4 carriers in the general vicinity, but they might be spread out a little, and I'm honestly very tempted to attack this carrier over here with our carriers. We could of course do that, but what's actually your property in terms of strike range? It's a 5, so we could come over here, attack these guys. Might be useful, but not necessarily the best idea. I mean, we are still recovering, we don't have all of our forces ready, so frankly I don't think it's the right thing to do right now. Can we bring these guys into Pearl Harbor itself? We can, just barely though, and you couldn't get in. You can get in here though. Let's bring you up. Can't do any strike, but that is fine. By the way, what's your mode? Fighter, combat air patrol. Yeah, I would rather like it to be a little bit different. Still, getting you over here is fine, then we'll be able to upgrade next time. How about you? Should move you up, that is for sure. And let's scout out a little with these heavy cruisers. Doesn't seem to be anything in between, which is good of course. So yeah, I think we are relatively safe. We do have a heavy cruiser over here that we do need to reinforce. And that's fine. We do, I think, have some battleships lying around over here. Yeah, and that is all going to the Pacific, and it's taking 1 turn anyway, so let's simply put you over there. And that will bring 3 battleships over to the Pacific. Not exactly replacing the losses that we had, but close enough, I think. Bring it to Panama. And that's fine. Good. Right, so there's this weird glitch over here. Yeah, all of these are fine now. So, you're in combat air patrol? Yeah. Okay, that's fine then. Let's bring it down here towards Hawaii itself. That is not Big Island, but I don't actually know the name of that island, but right. sort of it like that. That should be alright. We do have these special forces that could be upgraded just for mobility. That's not that useful. And yeah, we'll simply keep these guys very clustered around over here. These fighters. I mean, you could potentially attack someone. A heavy cruiser? No. Let's reinforce you so that you can provide better air cover. And that should be fine. Then down here we do have these submarines. They could inch over to the carrier and potentially attack that one. I wouldn't be too opposed to that idea. Oh! There's also another light carrier. Oh, you're also on sneaky mode? God damn it. Right, let's send you off towards the north then. Okay, that's fine. We'll keep you as a scout for now, and that should be fine. Over here, I do want to place these submarines on the Japanese supply lines, and these guys over here simply need to come home and reinforce because they have been so badly beaten up. Yeah. Not the best turn for the US, I have to say. Some of these forces up here are okay. You could come home, I guess. We have some fighters over here, so it might actually make sense to operate these guys for quite a bit of money towards over here. So that you'd be capable of taking on more of these carriers should they stick around. Yeah, that's fine. We don't really have that many more naval bombers or anything as the US land-based naval bombers. We do have some forces over here on the east coast. We could move them over to the UK. I don't think there's much point doing that right now. We could of course attack North Africa and go for Italy with the US. Might be a possibility. Let's keep them where they are for now, and I think that's a good enough start. So as the US then, we do want to do some diplomacy, I think. Especially the US is pretty capable of doing diplomacy actually. It has a 7% chance instead of 5 as everyone else. So what I do want to try as the US is bring in Argentina towards our side. I would also like to have a look at Venezuela. And these are fairly cheap investments compared to their potential gain. And potentially Brazil. I think that's fine. Anyone else who's really eager to join us? Chile might be a good target. But no, for now I think everyone else is fine over here. Could spend 2 more chits. Let's see whether Argentina moves on its own towards us. That would be very nice. You know what, let's spend in 1 more on Brazil. So that we can increase their chances of joining us a little bit over there. And I think Venezuela is actually should be fairly eager to join now. And it would be nice because we do have some supply lines over here, which to me is suggesting that should they move a little bit closer, we will be able to get them on our side a little bit more easily. That does leave a couple of points for the US still. That's probably mostly our naval weapons, which we should be upgrading. We can also purchase a couple of more things as the US. We do have a good number, I think, of special forces. I mean, that's 2, 3, 4 special forces that can be moved out as the US. We do have a garrison unit. Maybe it's worthwhile to buy a little bit more so that we can guard our potential conquests. Anti-air units, we do have a number of mechanized infantry, tanks, armies coming in. These guys will be destined towards Europe. We have some over here. Do we have a headquarter unit even? As the US, any headquarter? Yeah, we'll get one in May 42 in Charleston, and I think that's going to be has to be enough pretty much for the US. So other than that, heavy cruisers, light cruisers. I mean, some more scouting capability on the west coast over here. Sorry, in the Pacific might not be too bad. We do only have heavy cruisers, 1 destroyer squadron. Just some light cruisers for scouting purposes. How much is a maritime bomber? It's not too expensive, is it? 166? Oh, sorry, as the US maritime bombers. Should still be the same price. Yeah, about. 166. And the light cruiser is 250. It's gonna take a year to do this. Let's actually get a sub as the US, and then if we can, some maritime bombers. And that should really be it for maritime bombers. Yeah, good. Happy with this. Does leave no money for the US, pretty much no money for anyone else. So that is fine. Since we do have enough time now, I think it is time that we switch things around so that we that we end up with the German turn over here. And then next time we can see how things develop. I think that's actually going to be fine because of the way that this works now. The Germans are a little bit frozen into place, so I don't think we need to react to that very strongly, at least in the winter turn. So let's end our turn. Italian morale suffers because we liberated Ethiopia in the previous term. Abyssinia, I'm sorry. Come on. Japan reinforces Burmese front. Okay, that is unfortunate. Naval units continue sailing west into the Pacific. Yeah, that's good. Do have a fortress over here. So we have another line to fall back to in case things do get worse. For the Spring 42 offensive. We were hit by rough seas. That's unfortunate. Commander training depot set up. Normandy ocean liner mysteriously thinks in the harbour. That's interesting. Advanced fighters. Good progress on anti-submarine warfare. Yeah, UK is sending a lot of its stuff overseas and spending on other things. USSR is collecting a nice income. US is also doing fairly well, so that I appreciate. Let's see how things turn out for the Axis, especially of course Japan. Come on. Calculating supply. Yeah, it is getting difficult. And Japan seems to be getting a lot of events in the Pacific theater. Germans are pulling back a little in Africa, but it makes sense that they should go there. One last thing I did between episodes is I sent one of these carriers towards the west over there because I want to send it towards the Pacific. German units are shuffling around a little bit. Ooh. That was a nasty result. Japanese are seemingly going towards Bangkok. Conducting some strikes on Singapore Harbour. Yeah, we might want to upgrade these guys then. American fighters down here, very much hampered. Ooh. Some air battles across the sea over here. From the Philippines. Interesting to see. Ooh. Ooh, the Germans just outrightly destroying a tank of ours. Heavy tank brigade even. Division. That's nasty. Yeah, the heavy tanks of the Soviets aren't as great as we would have hoped so far. Some pointless attacks apparently down there. Yeah, but the loss of that division really bad for us. Hopefully at some point these guys will need to reinforce and be able to show some progress on our side. Burma is being pushed back really badly over here. So we do need to send some Chinese over, some Indians over there, I think. I have to say I'm slightly disappointed by that because to me that feels a little bit fake. The Japanese didn't really have that many forces left, so it doesn't seem like that should be the case. Germans are attacking in winter. I kind of doubt whether that is very wise of them. They are not really making much impression on this front at least. Over here it's a little bit more serious. But down here, I mean, Yeah, there's a 7, there's an 8. Have you guys moved off? So you could potentially land somewhere. German tanks are driving into the Pripyat marshes. We have some backup line over there, but not too much actually. Well then. Yeah, over here some worse results actually. Well, it's a 7. Indomitable carrier, nice. But you will need to be reinforced. Truant sub deploys for service, okay. Yeah, all of these guys do need to be reinforced. Soviet winter strikes. What's going on over there? Allied raiders disrupt Japanese convoys. Japanese submarines shells the Californian coast. Without much effect. Capture Korigudua. Where's that? Okay. Well, it is time for our turn, and since we do have some time in the episode left, I do think we are gonna deal with some things. So... Soviet winter strikes. I didn't know exactly what that means. Ooh! Did we get some new troops? Oh no, that was probably just the troops that were transferred from the Pacific. A little bit of intel on this and that. Maritime bombers over here. Interesting. Okay, yeah, let's deal with the Soviet front. That will principally be some reinforcements, I think, from some of these troops. That's fine. You guys really did hold out fairly well. Likewise over here, let's make sure that these guys are reinforced as appropriately. 9 over here. Yeah, we still should reinforce you. That's fine. Good, everyone else over here is okay. These engineers just finished their fortifications. I would, so in principle the idea is to defend behind this river line. How did we think about it over here? Sorry, I just wanted to take... Okay, yeah, so behind, sort of take these two towns in the defensive line. And then come down here towards this region. So ideally Kherson should be defended. Ideally that resource depot should be defended. But Yekaterinoprovsk really needs to be defended, so actually this hex here might be the most exposed. In case the enemy advances. Which I'm doubtful they will actually, so let's get you over here. Let's tell you to fortify simply towards the west, and that should be okay. You are still fortifying your place, so that is okay too. Yeah, and everyone else is getting slowly snowed in. Pointless attacks all around. Wouldn't really gain anything doing that, so let's not. Over here though, looks a little bit more towards our favor. We also have these guys. We are getting more experience by the day. Could strike these tanks, could also strike this army, this Romanian army. And over here, yeah, this Hungarian corps. Yeah, let's strike the German allies over here a little bit, tease them. Gain some experience for our side. Unless of course we lose a little. It's not too bad. Could move up this corps to also attack the German corps, but not going to do that for now, but we do need to reinforce these guys. That should be okay. So yeah, we'll keep these guys in reserve, we'll build up their readiness and morale, and that's going to be fine. And then this cavalry division can come up, I guess, towards the north again. You're also getting a little bit more ready, that is good to see. Although these tank armies approaching down there aren't that great. Let's try to counter that. I think some corps should be enough. Can advance into this field. There are the German paratroopers. But you know what? Slowly but surely they are wearing thin at least a little bit. Successful attack on that core. Could reduce the tanks. Should be a good trade, I think. What's the 3? Do they have tanks level 3 now? Dear God, they'll be upgrading their stuff. No attack that we can make over here. Could potentially reinforce the battleship with the Soviets. But I don't think that's very worthwhile, so... yeah, everything else down here. I'd like to bring in this army. I think there's a river crossing over here that we are suffering from. Anyway, I do expect there to be some bombers. Bombers, actually. It's not fighters. There we go. Good enough for me. Right. No big sweeping maneuver on the Soviet front, but we do have a lot of units that we could potentially place, right? Well, at least some. There's the armored train, which I think again makes more sense up here because simply there are more train tracks. It was where it was used last time before the Germans destroyed it. So you know what, let's build it up over here. And the Moscow Corps we can place... I'm tempted to place it down here again so that we can have more of an armored or more of a punch through this area. We do really need to encircle some German troops if we are to make some progress. Let's basically over here just extend our line a little bit and then that should be okay. Good. These guys are fine. Then we do have some destroyers. Should make sure that there are no German submarines over here. Of course there are. But we're not really capable of attacking them or inflicting too much damage with the Soviets. So yeah, everything else is okay. So the question is, should we purchase anything with the Soviets? What's your production line looking like? Yeah, so we are getting some forces in. The bit that I'm missing is to actually get some headquarter units. Although, how is the research for you looking? We are investing a little bit into anti-aircraft defenses, which I appreciate because it is very important. I would also like to get mobility, so that might not be the worst. Make our tanks a little bit better. Production technology, industrial technology, all of these are worthwhile. Advanced tanks. Since the Germans do now have level 3, we would actually be getting quite a bit of a benefit in researching these. And we'd also get a benefit of researching mobility. Let's research advanced tanks. I think that is important. Oh, and command and control. That would allow our headquarters to be that much more efficient. So you know what? Let's invest that. And into advanced tanks. I don't want to overdo it. Soviet Union is still precariously close to collapsing, so let's actually purchase some units instead. And I think more armies are a good way to do that. That does leave hardly any money. If you can research anything sensible for 100 points, I'm going to do it. Logistics, no. Aerial warfare, no. Naval warfare, big no. So yeah, that's fine then. Could actually reinforce these engineers finally. No, we can't because we moved them. Okay, that's fine though then. Can reinforce the battleship. We can, the Marat. We can, it might be nice to shell some positions on the coast, but so far these coastal positions are No, I don't think it's worth 50 points. Yeah, that just doesn't seem right. It doesn't feel right to me. So more garrisons to guard the Pripyat marshes, or to build up some defensive lines over here, or here. Just prevent German breakouts. I think we are fine for now. We might actually... Let's reinforce these guys so that if the Finns come knocking, we should be in a better position. And everything else over here is fine. Good, that does settle the turn for the Soviets, and I think we will be heading over to our regular schedule, where next time we'll be playing as the Allies and see about how things develop. There is quite a bit of things to be done over here in East Asia, so I think that will work out very nicely. Thank you very much for watching. See you guys next time. Bye bye.